What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Talkin Football podcast. This is episode 47. And today's episode, we are starting Predictions Week. It is back. Predictions Week is when I do basically a full week of just predictions, every division individually. Did it last year and it went pretty well. So basically, all you're going to do, just go to Talkin Football and just stay on the channel every day. Look every day. I'm going to be posting each video around the middle of the day. Today is I'm going to be doing it a little bit later than normal, but we are going to be posting around the middle of the day, so make sure you guys are watching out for that. Today, we are covering the NFC West, probably the best division in football, or one of them at least, and you'll see why with my predictions in just a little bit. Let me get the intro, and let's get right into Predictions Week. So, like I said before, we are doing the NFC West first, and I said this is a very good division. It is. Seahawks, Niners, Cardinals, and Rams. It's a very good division, and there's one team in there that I really, really like, and we'll get to them in a little bit. Let's start off with last place, and the fact that this record is last place just sucks. The Seattle Seahawks are going to be in last place, in my opinion. And what's funny is I actually like this team a lot. I think they have a really, really good roster, which kind of makes this funny. I'm a little concerned about Sam Darnold. I think he'll be fine. I don't think he's going to be good enough for them to make the playoffs. Like last year with the Vikings, he benefited a lot from having a really good coach and a really, really good roster around him. Good offensive line, good weapons. Now he's a defensive coach. Mike McDonald is a defensive head coach. So now he's going into a totally new mindset in Seattle. He has Kenny Walker and Zach Charbonnet in the backfield. You guys know I'm not a big Kenny Walker guy. I like Charbonnet a lot. I don't dislike Kenny Walker. I think he's a great running back. I think for fantasy, really, that's where my mind is at. But that's a good one too, right there. Charbonnet's really good on receiving downs, and Darnold really likes the easy check downs. He saw that last year with Hawkinson and Aaron Jones. And I like Kenny Walker too. He's going to pound the rock, and that's what Seattle does. JSN is coming into his first season, in my opinion. This is his first season because DK Metcalf was number one last year. He's coming to his first real season as a wideout one in the NFL. And honestly, you could argue in his entire career because at Ohio State, he was behind Olave. He was behind Wilson. He was behind Wilson for a little bit. You could argue that Marvin Harrison was better than him. I will say that Njigba was probably the wideout one in his last year at Ohio State. But still, he doesn't have a lot of experience being the number one guy. And I know you could say last year he may have been the number one guy statistically, but DK Metcalf was the number one guy there, if we're going to be honest. So now he's the number one guy there. He also has Cooper Kupp, and I like Cooper Kupp a lot. He's slept on significantly. I don't know why people don't like him in fantasy. I don't get why. He's a great, great, great player. He's still got it. We saw it last year. Injury prone, sure, but he still got it. Don't disrespect him. The third wide receiver spot's interesting because they have a lot of different guys. They have MVS on the team. They have Jake Bobo, who I like a lot. But then they have Torrey Horton, who has really come onto the scene in the preseason. He really has been. He's been great. He really has been. And right now, ESPN has him as the number 3 receiver. So I'm not sure if that's the way they're going to go in the season. But if that's the way, that's a solid receiver core. Kupp, JSN, and Horton. That's a pretty good trio. Their tight ends are kind of not good. AJ Barner, Elijah Arroyo. Arroyo I like. I think I had him as my third ranked tight end when I was doing tight end scouting reports. Offensive line isn't bad either. Notable guys: Charles Cross, Gray Zabel, first round pick this past season. Abraham Lucas, or this past draft rather, for Gray Zabel. Abraham Lucas. They have good pieces on their offense. They do. They're an above-average offense. And I love their defense. People sleep on this defense. Jaron Reed is great. Byron Murphy, I think, is going to have a really good breakout year. I think he's finally going to come onto the scene a little bit more. Leonard Williams, we already know. I'm a Giants fan. With the Jets, with the Giants, with the Seahawks, doesn't matter. He has been an absolute run stopper. He was phenomenal last year with the Seahawks. And they also added DeMarcus Lawrence, which people forget. People forget that he is with them now. Tank Lawrence, Cowboys, probably their best edge rusher in the last 10 years, other than Micah Parsons. He's now with the Seahawks. People forget about that. He's with Seattle now. I don't like their linebackers. I'm not a big Ernest. Well, I actually like Ernest Jones. It's not true. I do like Ernest Jones, but like in terms of like they don't with the rest of the guys in the division, they don't have a Fred Warner. They don't. Ernest Jones is not a Fred Warner. They have good edge rushers though. I like Boye Mafe. I think he's a solid player. I like Uchenna Nwosu, even though he's listed not as a first team guy. They have really good pieces, and don't even get me. I love their secondary so much. I love their secondary so much. Just talk about their corners. Tariq Woolen, or Reek Woolen, he goes by now, and Devin Witherspoon. That is so filthy. It's not even funny. That is so unbelievably filthy. I love Devin Witherspoon so much. He is such a good corner. Tariq Woolen is really good too. He's actually great. And their safeties, Julian Love, stud. Kobe Bryant, stud. It's a really good team. Jason, special teams too. Jason Myers and Michael Dixon. You can't really. You're not going to find many teams that are better duo than that. Dixon might even be the best player in the league. Here's where I get a little. It's their schedule. I have them going 2-4 in the division, which is the main reason as to why they're going 8-9. After that, there's 5 or 6 games on their schedule where I'm like, you're probably going to lose that game. And here they are. Steelers on the road, Bucks at home, Texans at home, Washington on the road, and Minnesota at home. You could also, if you wanted to, maybe throw in Atlanta and Indy. They probably should win those games. But if we're being honest, those are 5 games that they're probably going to end up losing. The Steelers is a toss-up. And knowing Sam Darnold, with all due respect, he's probably going to lose probably more than one of the NFC South games because they play the NFC South this year. They have the Bucks, they have the Panthers late in the year, they have the Falcons, and then they play the Saints week 3. He's gonna lose the Falcons or the Colts. So even if they win, maybe against the Steelers, maybe against the Vikings, they're still gonna go 8-9. I think their ceiling is 10-7, 11-6, but I think they're gonna be held back severely by this quarterback situation. And I hate to say that because I think Darnold is in for a decent year. I don't think he's gonna hold them back entirely. But at the end of the day, I'm a little concerned about that. And that's my main reason as why I'm saying 8-9. I will say MVP, I think, is going to be Jackson Smith and Jigba. I think he's going to have an amazing year. I'm looking north of 12-5, I would say. I think he's going to say more than 1,250. I think more than that is reasonable. I think Byron Murphy, like I said before, is going to have a big breakout year. But despite that, their schedule, their division, it's a little bit too tough. They're just going to miss the playoffs, I think. 8-9 is what I have for the Seattle Seahawks. Next up, San Francisco 49ers. I have them going 10-7 this year, and this really makes me mad. And I'll tell you guys why. I hate the Niners. And I don't mean like, oh, I'm a Giants fan. I don't mean that way. I'm just saying this team is so mediocre. They have no reason to be going 10-7 this year. None. They have zero reason to be going 10-7 this year. But their schedule helps them significantly. I like the Seahawks. I have them going 2-4 in the division. Outside of that, they have a lot of gimmies. Saints, Jaguars, Panthers, Browns, Titans. That's 5, if I'm not mistaken, right? Saints, Jaguars, Panthers, Browns, Titans. That's 5. Those are 5 games that you probably should win. That puts you at 7 wins. Just like that. Oh, and the Giants too. That's 6. That puts you at 8-7. Outside of that, I mean, you're probably going to beat the Colts, and you're probably going to beat the Bears. That puts you at 10-7. If the Seahawks had this schedule, the Seahawks are going to go 10-7 or 11-6. But it's just a matter of the way it is. And Niners are probably going to end up going 10-7. And let's look at this roster. I don't mind Purdy. I don't dislike him. I think he's a fine quarterback because he gets the job done. And I think that's what is so underappreciated in today's game. A quarterback who gets the job done is a good quarterback. Purdy gets the job done. I love their running back room. I think CMC is going to have a healthy year this year. I don't know how good of a year he's going to have, but I do like him a lot. I mean, it's like, oh, I like Justin Jefferson. No, I genuinely think he's going to have a good year this year, CMC. I think he's going to be healthy. If he does get hurt, Brian Robinson and Isaac Arundo are there to pick up the change. That is a great duo, even without CMC. Brian Robinson was disrespected. I don't know why they got rid of him. Washington, they have no reason to. I know a Bill Krosky Merritt who has come out of nowhere. Everyone loves him now. Okay. I know they have Eckler still. Okay. But at the end of the day, I just don't see it. Whatever. And Isaac Rondo was very good in the time where CMC was out. Let's look at the wide receiver core, or as I say, the IR. Brandon Ayuk is going to be out for at least more than a quarter of the season, but he's still recovering from the ACL. And the thing is, when you come back from ACLs, unless you're like genetically gifted, it takes a really long time to bounce back. I wouldn't be surprised if Ayuk maybe next season came back and had a really good year. It's super hard to come back from ACLs and get your gears moving. It's really hard to do that. So Ayuk's going to be out for at least a quarter of the season, and when he comes back, he's probably not going to be as good as we hope he will be, or as what the Niners will hope. Juwan Jennings is hurt, also kind of holding out, wanting a trade. Don't really know what's going on there. We haven't got an update from him yet if he's going to be available for week 1, which would put Ricky Pearsall as their wideout 1. That's not good. And don't get me wrong, I think Pearsall's going to have a pretty good year. I'm looking 700 yards for Pearsall this year. That's what I genuinely think that. I think he's going to have a really good year. After that, you don't really have anyone. Demarcus Robinson suspended for the first 6 games, I want to say. Sky Moore stinks, respectfully. They have guys on this roster that I like. I like Isaiah Hodgins for obvious reasons. I like Russell Gage a lot, but he's hurt. They have Robbie Chosen. I have to say it right. Robbie Chosen. So they have notable guys that can. They also have Terrell Owens' son, too. I don't know if he's going to make the team or not, but they have guys that can play, but like it's kind of like I'm looking at the Niners and I'm like, ooh, they don't scare me. I love George Kittle. You guys know that. I love George Kittle so much. I think he's such a good player. Juszczyk as well. Good ball players. So you know what you're going to get with them. Explosiveness. It's the same stuff every year. Reliability. Their offensive line I'm not a big fan of. Trent Williams is kind of He plays at an all-pro level, but he's been hurt recently, so I don't know how that's going to work out for them. After that, Drake Brendel, I think, is okay. It's just kind of like this offensive line kind of stinks. Then you can look at their defense, and this is the part where I'm the most concerned. Their offense, I think, it will be fine. Their defense, though, maybe I'm overreacting, but like you have your obvious all-pros, Nick Bosa and Fred Warner. Like, I know those are really good ball players. Don't get me wrong about that. I know they're great, and they've been really good for many years now. They also have Bryce Huff, who I really, really like. I love Bryce Huff. I think he's a great, great, great player. Just didn't really fit in with Philly and got hurt, too. Didn't really help him either. They have Mykel Williams, who they drafted in the first round in this past draft from Georgia. After that, it's very dead. There's not a lot there. Their defensive tackles kind of stink. After Fred Warner, they don't really have anyone because Ray Greenlaw went to Denver. It just kind of their front 7. Their secondary, I will say, I don't mind their secondary that much. Bernardo Green. They have Diamador Lenore, who Lenore was very good last year, which kind of surprised me. I didn't think he was going to be that good, but he was very good. Char Ward left, so now Lenore's CB1. Bernardo Green looks to be CB2. I'm assuming Dallas Flowers is probably going to be the CB3, maybe a slot guy. They've Upton Stout right now as the nickelback. I don't know who that is. So maybe I'm a casual Niner fans comment. I don't know who that is. I mean, the name Dallas Flowers is a name that I know. That name sounds familiar to me, but I don't know who Upton Stout is. There's safeties I like. I like Jair Brown and I like Malik Mustafa. I like both of them. I actually think Jair Brown's going to have a really good year this year. Mustafa, we already know, is a very good ball player. But and the special teams, Moody and Morstead. Morstead is old as heck, I mean, respectfully, and Moody's not reliable. He's nowhere close to where they want him to be when they drafted him out of the third round from Michigan. But this team has no right being 10-7, but they will be because of how their schedule is and because of Kyle Shanahan. This team's a first round exit. They're going on the first round, and they're gonna need a lot to go their way. It's just such a mediocre team. No reason to go 10-7, but they benefit heavily from a good schedule. So if you're looking at a team, you're like, well, who's I had no train of thought there. The Niners are going to be a team where their fans they'll be like, well, the first couple of weeks they have the Seahawks, Saints, Cardinals, Jags. That's probably 3-1. They'll be 3-1. They'll be talking. They'll be like, we're 3-1. We're fine. Best team in the league. This is not the best team in the league. This team is, in my opinion, they could be 11-0, and I would still rank them in the middle of the pack. I don't think they're that good. I genuinely don't think that. I just think that they benefit heavily from having a very good schedule. And then they have a bye week, and then they have the Titans, Colts, Bears, and Seahawks. And before their bye week, they have the Panthers and the Browns. That's a very easy end. So even, let's just say hypothetical, even if they're 4-7, they could win out and make the playoffs. And that's what makes me mad about this team, because they're not good, respectfully. I don't think that they're deserving of a wild card spot, but they probably are going to sneak in. Now, this next team, and I'm a little surprised. I've seen a lot more praise for them. If I'm putting all my eggs in one basket, it's this team. I love this team so much. And just saying, 2 years ago, my first year doing this, when I was live streaming on Twitch, I had the Texans going 10-7. That was the year that CJ Stroud and Will Anderson were both rookies. D'Amico Ryans was coming in for the first time. I said this is going to be 10-7 team. And then went 10-7, they made the playoffs. And they said they're going to make the playoffs. This team, I genuinely love so much. I'm talking about the Arizona Cardinals. And I'll be honest, I saw that Bleacher Report actually had them going 10-7 or 11-6. I was a little surprised. But if you look at them, and maybe I'm a tweaker, whoa, but something about this team, I think it's their defense, but we'll start looking at their offense first. Kyler Murray, goes without saying, good above average quarterback. James Conner, reliable, bruiser. Trey Benson, again, good running back. And they also have Amari DiMercato. You can't forget about him. DiMercato has been very good for the Cardinals in the limited playing time. Let's talk about their wide receivers now. I like Michael Wilson. I think Zay Jones is solid. But if there's a one wide receiver I'm going all in on this year, it's Ohio State alum Marvin Harrison Jr. I genuinely think 1,500 is what he's going to go for this year. And this video might be a total miss, and he might not even go anywhere near that. But if there's one player where I'm like 100% all in on, it's Marvin Harrison. I genuinely think that. I think 1,500 is doable for him. I really feel that way. I was very disappointed with how he played last year. I'm sure he was disappointed with the way he played last year. I was expecting way more. I think this is the year. I think Marvin Harrison is finally going to break out. I said that in the Fantasy Players You Should Target video. I genuinely feel that way about Marvin Harrison. And we've seen the Cardinals where they have been a mediocre offense, but they had one superstar wide receiver, And that drove them all the way, was pretty much to the Super Bowl. They had a quarterback who could do what they needed him to do. They had a solid, like a decent to solid surrounding pieces or surrounding core. And they had one superstar wide receiver. I feel like Marvin Harrison can kind of repeat what Larry Fitz did. Offensive line, I think Paris Johnson Jr. is in for a pretty good year. After that, their offensive line isn't really that great, so they might have to throw the ball pretty quickly. But I don't mind their offense at all. Let's talk about this defense. Jonathan Gannon's gonna have some toys to play with. Josh Sweat, Calais Campbell, Dalvin Tomlinson, Darius Robinson. That's a great front. It really is. That's a really, really good front. They also have B.J. Ojolari still on that. Yeah, they still have B.J. Ojolari. He is hurt, and he was out for the year. I don't know if it was an Achilles or an ACL last year, but he's still recovering, and B.J. Ojolari has only shown positive signs. They also drafted Walter Nolan in the first round, and I'll be honest, I was not a fan of his. I was not. I don't know if I did a video where I was like, "Oh, don't take this guy." I don't know if I did that or not. Maybe it was on the draft day live stream. I'm not a Walter Nolan guy. Oh, in the mock drafts, that's what it was. I wasn't a big Walter Nolan guy, and it's just the way I've been. I'm just not a big Walter Nolan guy, but I think he's going to fit in with this Cardinals team. I think that, right? So that alone is good. Their linebackers, I think, are sneaky good, and they're not talked about enough. Akeem Davis-Gaither has been a really solid linebacker. He's been solid, no better than that. Mac Wilson, solid linebacker. Zaven Collins, I wish we saw a little bit more. I don't know if he's a middle linebacker or an edge rusher. I think they've been using him more as an edge rusher recently. He's shown sparks, right? Baron Browning has been very good. I think he was most recently with Denver, right? Yeah, he was most recently with Denver. Cody Simon, rookie, he's a good linebacker. He's recently with Ohio State. That's a good linebacker core. You know what I'm saying? But if there's one group on this team that I'm putting all my eggs into, this one basket, it's their secondary. They're young, but holy are they filled with dogs. Filled with dogs. And you can't tell me otherwise. Will Johnson, love him. Dog. And if you say, oh, you're saying that because the training camp, I posted a video. Will Johnson is a certified dog, and I said that whoever he's going to fall down the board. Let me tell you something. He's such a good ball player, and people are like, oh, well, he's hurt. Okay, you know what? How many times have we seen players fall because of an injury, and then they end up being such a good player? Happens all the time. Will Johnson's one of those guys. Second round snag by Jonathan Gannon. Will Johnson has been unbelievable so far in training camp. I'm expecting big things from him this year. After that, Max Melton, who was pretty solid last year, and Garrett Williams in his third or fourth year out of Syracuse. They also have Sean Murphy-Bunting. I don't know what his injury update is there, but if we're being real, when Sean Murphy-Bunting comes back, I think we can maybe see, or if he comes back, I don't know what's going on with him. Oh, he's going to miss the entire season. Okay, never mind. So Murphy-Bunting's out for the year, but still, that's a really good trio there. Chad Ryland was much better than he was with the Patriots. Right, he was with the Patriots, I want to say, yeah. And Blake Gillikin, he's just a solid punter, whatever. So you might look at the roster and say, yeah, they're a good team. But why would they be 11-6? I'm going to tell you why. First off, I have them going 3-3 in the division. So that's 3 wins and 3 losses right there. What I'm talking about is their opening. And when I say 3-3, I mean I think they're going to split with everyone. So you can do the math with the Seahawks and the Niners. Seahawks are going to split with the Niners and Cardinals and get swept by the Rams. Same thing with the Niners. When you look at the Cardinals' schedule, they open up against the Saints, who I think the Saints suck. Actually, I don't think the Saints suck. I know the Saints suck. The Saints are terrible. They are such a bad team. So when the NFC South video comes out, don't be surprised to see like an O in the win column for the Saints. They suck, respectfully. Saints, at Saints versus Panthers, at Niners versus Seahawks, versus Tennessee, at Indy versus Green Bay. Respectfully, there are 6 very winnable games there. And you can argue that Green Bay is a winnable game too. They can go into their bye week 7-0, and I would not be surprised. I think 5-2 is more realistic. I think they'll probably lose the Niner game on the road and then probably lose the Green Bay game. I think that's probably what happens there. That's 5-2, though, going into your bye week. Coming out of your bye, on the road against Dallas. Dallas stinks. You're beating Dallas. You're going to split with the Niners and the Seahawks, so that's 1-1 there. So if you're 5-2 going in with one loss to one of them, so you're going to be, I'm trying to do the quick math in my head. If you're going to be 5-2 with one loss to them, then you'll come out being 6-3, and that's 7-3 with the Cowboys win. You're going to beat the Jags. It's 8-3. And then they have a very, very rough ending, if we're going to be honest here. They're 8-3 now. I don't think I did my math right. Oh, no, I did. Never mind. They're going to beat I think they're going to split with the Rams. That puts them at 9-3. So week 13 to week 18, you have the Bucks on the road, the Rams, then the Texans on the road, the Falcons, and at Bengals, at Rams to end the season. It's not an easy ending for the Cardinals, but I think if they have as good of a start as I think they will, there's no reason this team can't come out and have a really good season. 8-3 in week 11 or 7-3 in week 11 is exactly what this team needs. 8-3 after you beat the Jaguars. You're gonna split with the Rams. You put that's 9-4, and I think you're probably gonna beat the Falcons. It puts you at 10-4, and I think they're probably gonna beat the Bengals. I think that. I think if Marvin Harrison's good enough, then absolutely they'll probably beat the Bengals there. That puts them at 11 wins, losing to the Bucks, losing to the Texans, and then losing to the Rams to split with them. That's 11-6 right there. That is absolutely doable for the Cardinals. And I think my only concern, though, is that they're super reliant on that beginning. If they stink in the beginning, scrap this record prediction. If they're not 3-1 after week 4, you might have to scrap it. I'll be honest. Maybe not. Maybe if they're not, if they don't have a winning record by week 5, then we're a little iffy. But I think I can see this team really going. I don't think they're a Super Bowl team by any means. They're not there yet. Maybe in 2 or 3 years, Super Bowl contenders. I think this is a divisional team, 100%. I think this is a divisional round team right now. They'll win the wild card round. They'll move on to the divisional round. That's what I feel like right now when I think about the Arizona Cardinals. I had them going 11-6 and placing second in the division. So that leaves one team, and you guys know it already. Los Angeles Rams, I had them going 12-5. Stafford injury or not, I believe in the Rams. I believe in the Rams a lot. And the thing is, let's just say Stafford is hurt and he can't really go because of the back injury. Okay, no problem. Then they're going to go to either Jimmy G or Stetson Bennett. Stetson Bennett was very good in the preseason, and Jimmy G is a reliable guy. And look, I know he's kind of been not as good as people want him to be, but Jimmy G is still a really solid quarterback in the NFL, and a lot of teams would like him, just for what it's worth. So let's talk about this Rams team. Stafford at quarterback, Kyren and Corum in the backfield. I think Corum's going to have a much better year than he did last year. He wasn't really involved as much, which kind of stunk a little bit. But for what it's worth, I think Corum's going to be a little bit more involved this year. Wide receiver core, Puka, Tay Adams, Tutu Atwell. That is a great trio. Don't play. That's a great, great trio right there. Then you're going to look at their tight ends. They have three really good tight ends. Tyler Higbee, who is still kind of recovering a little bit from the leg injuries that he suffered, but I think he's back and ready to go now. Terrence Ferguson, who played with Oregon, right? He's a rookie out of Oregon, I believe. And Colby Parkinson, who's been very reliable for the Rams so far. Offensive line, and I know I'm going through this fast, but you guys know this is a really good team. This is a good, solid team. Offensive line, Steve Avila, I like a lot. Kevin Dotson, I like a lot. Rob Havenstein, I like a lot. Those are guys that are going to carry this offensive line. And that three out of the 5, that's a really solid line. You know, defensively, they've built a really solid defense, and we'll go piece by piece. Defensive line. You start with Braden Fisk, Puna Ford, Colby Turner, and Byron Young. Those are four really beefy guys, okay? Those are four beefy guys right there who are going to just storm at the quarterback. Then you're going to add edge rusher Jared Verse, who was unbelievable last year. I mean, absolutely nuts. How he was so good for the Rams. I only expect that to come up more. Their linebackers kind of stink. That's the only part about this defense. I'm not a big Nate Landman guy. Omar Spites, those are the starters listed right now. I don't really like either of them. But the Rams haven't really had good linebackers recently anyways. I mean, Bobby Wagner's like the only one that comes to mind in terms of actually being good. Let's look at their secondary. Darius Williams, he was really good with the Rams last year. Ahkello Witherspoon, I think he's a liability in the secondary, but he's good enough. Colby Durant, I think he should be starting personally. Rams fans tell me if I'm wrong. I think he's better than Ahkello Witherspoon, but that's what they have projected on ESPN right now. And then Quentin Lake as an extra DB there. Safeties, I love the safety duo right now. Cam Curl and Cam Kitchens. The Cams in the back. Whew, man, that is a deadly duo right there. Cam Curl and Cam Kitchens. I have Cam Kitchens as my breakout player for the Rams. I really think that he's going to play very well with them at this point. I have Puka as the MVP. And also, if you guys want to, if you're like, oh, you know what, where are these posted? They're on my Instagram. I'm going to be posting the season predictions. I didn't really do that last year. This year, though, I will be posting by division. So if you want to stay up to date, make sure you follow Talkin Football Pod on Instagram. Same handle as it is on here, as it is on Instagram. But back to the safeties. I love Cam Kitchens. I think he's been so good last year. I think he's going to be even better this year. Cam Curl, stud. He's been a stud with Washington. He was a stud now. He's going to be a stud now with the Rams. So that's the Rams. And if you even want to go into their schedule, which I will, they have – the thing is with them, there's a lot of primetime games. But if we're being real, after that, other than those tough games, there's a lot of winnable ones. Texans, that's a toss-up. Titans, you'll win that one. Eagles, probably a toss-up. Actually, no, Eagles on the road, probably lose. Colts, you'll win. You'll beat the Niners. Probably lose against the Ravens. Beat the Jaguars. So you're probably going into the bye week 4-3, which isn't as good as people might expect. But after that, it's pretty smooth sailing from there. Saints, Niners, Seahawks, Bucks, Panthers, Cardinals, Lions, Seahawks, Falcons, Cardinals. So a lot of divisional games. But I have them going 5-1 in the division, and I think they'll go 12-5 with losses to the Cardinals. One loss to the Cardinals, loss to the Eagles, loss to the Ravens, loss to the Lions, and then loss probably to the Bucks. I think those are who are the 5 teams I think they'll probably lose to. So that's the 12-5 for the Rams there. Thank you all for watching. That is how we're going to end this episode. If you guys agree or disagree, let me know in the comments down below, and be on the lookout for more predictions in the next couple of days, and actually for next week, because predictions week is back. And also, again, want to stay up to date to my predictions. Instagram is where the place to go is. Talkin Football Pod on Instagram. This is Talkin Football, and that's what I got to say about that.